Hey there, Scorpio. Let's talk about what 2025 has in store for you. And for you, this is really going to be a year of exploring your interests, finding things that really light you up. This is a year of personal development. This is a year of getting to know what motivates you and what it is you're working towards. Now, starting out this year, these this Mars retrograde, Mars is a ruling planet for you. So when this guy retrogrades every 2 years, sometimes it's a little bit longer, it's almost like your energy levels go down. Mars is the planet that represents our passion, our drive, and our energy. So when it's in reverse, when it's retrograde, we are lacking that, but especially when it's a ruling planet, and it is for you. So you may be finding that you start out the early months of this year as it's retrograde, because it goes out on the 23rd of February, that you might be going at a slower pace. You may not have the energy to do what it is you want. Um, and that's okay, because once it starts going direct, you will start to have that energy and clarity on what it is you need to do, because there's going to be a lot of different opportunities that are appearing for you. Now, these opportunities, especially, are going to be coming because of Jupiter going into your ninth house. Hasn't been there for 12 years. This is the planet of luck, opportunity, and expansion. These are opportunities to do all things ninth house, which is travel. It's about exploration. That's where this exploration kind of gets pulled in. You've been looking for things that light you up. You've been looking for your happiness. And Jupiter has a way of helping us find it, but it helps us find it by getting out of those comfort zones that we find ourselves in and exploring new areas. When we explore, that's when we get lit up with that excitement of something new. And that's exactly what is going to be emerging for you, which ultimately helps you to find purpose and meaning. That ninth house also deals with our religious beliefs, our belief systems, our belief in ourself. So as we have it going through, it is going to be having you look to not only your beliefs, but why you're here. What is it that I'm here to do? What is the meaning of this whole situation? And as Jupiter gets rocking and rolling through, I think you're going to be finding that it's expanding your horizons, but also expanding you. Now, when we talk about expansion, I'm thinking career, right? And what we've got going on is these really huge cycles that are happening. In astrology, when we have our slow moving planets moving into new signs, it's a big deal. And this year we have all of them moving forever. They've been stuck in these signs for years, decades. And all of a sudden now they're all getting moving, and they're moving into fire signs, which is new energy. It's ready to take inspired action. And for you, this is moving into the sixth house of daily life, what you do to make your money, your daily work, your daily job. You've got Saturn working in a 30-year cycle, moving into Aries there. And you also have Neptune working in a 220-year cycle, coming back around, never been there, going into that sixth house as well. Now, what does all this mean, right? Saturn likes for us to think in the long term. It's thinking, what do I need to do? How do I need to plan to get to this end point, end goal that I have down the road? This is happening in that sixth house. What am I doing to make my money every day? What can I do to make more of this money every day? That's what Saturn's going to be doing. Now, Saturn and Neptune both move into Aries, inspiring us to take action to make these things happen, but they don't stay there until 2026. So this is going to be a year more so of discovery for you, finding what it is you need to do to make these plans. You are discovering the plans for how to make these long-term decisions, right? Especially when it comes to career and really doing what it is that you want to do, not just because you have to do it because of the money, because it's something that you genuinely love and want to do. That's what all this exploration is helping you to find, right? Neptune will have a little bit of a side effect though, because Neptune likes to dissolve away all the hard work that Saturn puts in. So when these two are going in together, you're going to have this push and pull dynamic of knowing what you want and um, like having the energy and the drive and the motivation to do it. And all of a sudden you go into this land of confusion. You don't know what the heck you want. And you have no energy to do it. It's just people up and down, up and down, up and down. That's kind of that push and pull dynamic that's been happening. These guys come together and they're like, look, as long as you stay on task, you dream your dreams, but you come up with a concrete plan. And if you stay on task with it, your dreams can come true. That's the best way to paraphrase it. And for you, it's happening in that sixth house of daily work, daily life, all this, and health actually falls into that too. So if you've got some new health plans that you're trying to put into place, if you start that regimen, you don't even have to start this regimen this year. I tell you what, if you just come up with a plan that you would want to stick to, you implement that this year, you come up with those plans. 2026, when these guys land in there finally, this is something that you're going to keep up with very consistently because you did it in the right energy to consistently keep up with that regimen. Now, that is career. Let's think about the money that comes with that because we kind of were just talking about that as well. So, what we've got happening, Jupiter wrapping up its cycle in Gemini, that is happening in that eighth house of yours. Now, as Jupiter has been going through that eighth house of yours for the past year, this is where it's trying to open up these wonderful opportunities, right, for you to pay off these debts. Astrology can go one of two ways, right? Jupiter expands, so it could have increased your debt, or it could have you looking at ways to get rid of such debt as well. So we have that energy still kind of happening along with Mercury retrograde that's going to be happening there as well. One of the Mercury retrogrades this year. So it's going to be a year because of that where you are going to be looking to the past for your thoughts and your beliefs around money and your value and how much um how much you feel that you deserve. These things are all going to be kind of coming into question in your thought process around them and how valid that thought process is. Is it still valid? Probably not. Time to reassess. And so that's kind of the magic of having the Mercury retrogrades happening there. So Jupiter going finishing up the cycle through June of this year. This is an opportunity where, remember, luck, opportunity, and expansion that pops out of nowhere. Lucky breaks that pop up out of nowhere. The eighth house deals with our partner's money. It's not the money we make. It's the money that other people make that we benefit from. So it could very well be a partner. It could be an inheritance. Sometimes that comes through. I've seen that with Jupiter going through the eighth house for people. Whatever it is, there's opportunities for you to find some of this financial freedom that you've been looking for and repaying any of those debts. Now, um, Uranus, of course, moving into Gemini right after, what's after Jupiter leaves there. Jupiter's moving from Gemini into Cancer, and we've got Uranus leaving uh Taurus and moving into Gemini. It's going to be moving into that eighth house of yours. We've got the planet of freedom moving into your house of debt. Put them together. This is going to be an 8-year cycle of you really working hard, especially if you're putting all those plans into place to find that financial freedom. Absolutely. So insight is coming this year on how to do it. Dang it, it's coming. So let's move on to the next area, right? We've talked about money, we've talked about career. Let's go to home and family. Now, I briefly just touched on how Jupiter is going to be moving into Cancer. Jupiter takes 12 years to go around the sun, where we take 365 days. So it hasn't been here for 12 years in the sign of Cancer. And when it does, it magnifies and it tries to bring light and healing to that sign and the energies that it brings for us. Cancer is the sign of home, family, early childhood, our parents, our mom, how we mother ourselves, mother our children. It's the house, it's the sign of security, emotional stability, um, all of these things, right? But you know what else falls into that is inherited beliefs from family dynamics, where Nobody in this family ever goes to college. Nobody in this family has ever been a millionaire. None of these things. And then so what ends up happening is our subconscious adopts those beliefs and it takes them on as their own. Jupiter coming through here has that ability to heal that. It has a way of breaking those cycles, especially if you're bringing it to your conscious awareness that this is an issue that I've seen, that I've been facing. If there's issues within family, Jupiter has a way to heal that as well. Not just the traumas and the issues from the past when it goes through Cancer, but also it's a way of healing existing issues that are happening right now, currently. It also has us looking at our home life, our actual physical, tangible home. Maybe this is a time frame for growing the family. Maybe you're looking to adopting, bringing on your partner's children into your home, buying a home, selling a home, um, renovating a home. All these things fall under that category. And Jupiter is such a healing planet. So if these are things that come to the surface, you're recognizing this is where these incorrect belief systems are coming from. Leave it up to Jupiter, and you can definitely heal in this process. And then not only heal yourself now, but backwards and forwards in time. So, um, another thing that is happening, not just that, that's just in general for everybody, but for you specifically, we've got Pluto, that planet of transformation, that is moving out of your third house and now into the fourth house of Aquarius. This is a 250-year cycle. So you've got this planet of absolute transformation that's coming through. This is where it is bringing up those family secrets. It's bringing up those power struggles. It's bringing up all of those power dynamics in these relationships. And it really helps you to recognize what it is that is valid still and what isn't, and what needs to be let go of, because that's what Pluto wants us doing. So you're going to have that anyway for the next 20 years under the surface of reinventing what home and family looks like. But then you add that layer of really beneficial energy to it this year with Jupiter. I think it's a great year to make changes with family if you want to do it. If there's rifts, especially if they deal around events that happened in childhood, if there are events that have that plutonic theme to it. So Pluto deals with trauma, death, crisis, loss, addiction, psychological issues, personality disorders, um, money and debts. If these things if these rifts in family have happened because of these things, this is a way that Pluto says we can shift and transform that right now. So that's also there as well. Now let's think about just relationship in general, right? Love. Let's look at what's happening in your love sector for 2025. Now, Uranus, that planet of liberating us from what isn't working correctly, it's finally leaving that seventh house of yours. Now, it takes 80 years for Uranus to go around the wheel. And what happens with Uranus is in the 8 years that it takes for it to transit through a sign or transit through one of our houses, it just depends on how big your house is in your chart. But as it goes through that seventh house for anybody, right? This is a time frame where there's a lot of assessment of what is it that I need? What is it? And am I getting that out of my relationship? What is it that I need in relationship? How do relationships look to me? How do I want them to look moving forward? And how do I want them to change? Uranus comes in and it's like, all right, let's dramatically change the landscape of how you relate. Now, keep in mind, that might not make people happy. Seventh house deals with romantic relationships, marriage, friendships. Your clients fall into that. It's close one on one relationships. So if you are going to be approaching relationship in a different way, where let's say you're not necessarily wanting to do what the person wants all the time, you're not willing to subjugate your needs in order to make them happy anymore, it's going to cause a stir. But that's why Uranus is doing this. It's shaking up your relationship house, and it has been since 2018, to make sure that you have authentic relationships in your life, ones that are true and congruent with who you are. And as it leaves that seventh house, that's where it moves into that eighth house of debts where it's working for the next 8 years to really bring you that financial freedom you want. But I look at this as, thank God the planet of unpredictability is leaving your seventh house of relationship. So all the unpredictable energy that surrounded that, it's finally leaving, and in its place is clarity about what you want in relationships. You kind of love it. You kind of love it. Now, the house of home and children, this is going to be the busiest sector of yours for you, whatever sounds right for you in 2025. Why is that, you say? Well, because you got a lot going on in there. Okay, for one, we're going to start with the eclipses. Eclipses work in these 10-year intervals. They see what is old and outdated and doesn't work no more in our lives, and it goes to bring something new in its place. So we have the eclipses working in your fifth house of children, all things that make you happy, your creativity, your personal power, all of that's in the fifth house. And so this is going to be a year where those things come to the surface. What is blocking that? Where are there issues with that? This is a time frame when your children are going to be growing and expanding and changing, because we have wherever the eclipses are, the north node and the south node in the sky is working in tandem with that. And that's where our soul's purpose and our destiny for that time frame is at. 18-year cycle. So you've got this healing that can be happening with children as they're moving forward and moving on to that next phase of their growth and their advancement, right? So we've got that in the fifth house, and the 11th house is going to be the friends that you surround yourself with. How true and authentic are they to you? Where do these friendships help move you forward? Are they holding you back? The eclipses help to make that known. It's not just friends, it's the organizations that you find yourself in. So it could be where you work, it could be the church that you go to, could be online communities, whatever it is, you're finding that this year the eclipses are really highlighting where these things are working and where they're not working for you. So that starts that out. But then on top of that, we also have um, Neptune and Saturn leaving these houses. Now, we talked about that, right? Neptune is the one that makes us dream. Saturn is the one that makes us face reality and come up with a plan. These guys are leaving that fifth house of yours. So this is dissolving those old beliefs. This is, you know, building new solid relationships of all different kinds. And it's helping you to find these committed relationships just in general for your happiness. As it leaves that fifth house, it's been reassessing that since 2011. Neptune has been in there. Maybe that's brought a little bit of confusion, maybe a little distance between not only your realization of what even makes you happy and what you need to be happy, but it could very well be with your physical children. Maybe there's been a little bit of distance and fog there. As it leaves, that fog lifts, right? Remember, it's just poking its head in. So it's giving a preview this year of what that exactly means for 26 and moving forward. Saturn hasn't been there for 30 years, so this is a big deal. Saturn going through means that those children are taking on responsibilities for themselves. And now you have the ability to dream what it is that you want to do and makes you happy, because your obligations have started to subside a bit when it comes to the children. So that is something as well. So now we're going to talk about birthdays, specific birthdays. If your birthday doesn't fall in here, it doesn't mean nothing. It's take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Honestly, these could all, even if your birthday isn't even in here, you may resonate with it just because of the way your specific chart is outlined. If you want to look at how your specific chart is outlined, I have a link below. We can set up a time to do a Zoom and do a reading and go over all these aspects. See how Jupiter is opening up these opportunities. See where Uranus is freeing you and liberating you for your specific chart. If you just want to get into a little bit more of astrology and understanding how you can utilize that in your daily life, right? I have created a 2025 astrological planner, which I've never done, and I'm very excited that I did. And the link for that below is too. You can follow the moon cycles, all of these things. Um, Understand it's got a little bit of an astrology 101 at the beginning to understand what these planets mean, what it means for you. opportunity periods, journaling. There's all sorts of awesome stuff that's in there. So if that's something that interests you, that's there as well. And the moon cycles, let's get back to that right quick before I forget. So with the moons, that's when we're going to be manifesting, and that's where we're going to be letting go, are the full moons and the new moons. And I didn't write it here, but you know what? I'm going to find it here in a second. Your moons are going to be the strongest. You can do this at any time, but if you're ready to manifest some things, you're going to do that at the Scorpio new moon, which is November 20th. And if you're ready to release things, this is a year where things that need to be released are surfacing. If you're ready to do some releasing, you're going to do that at the Scorpio full moon on May 12th. That's a big deal right there. So those are those. But back to the birthdays. Let's look at these birthdays. If your birthday is October 23rd to October 26th, Pluto, one of your ruling planets, is going to be squaring up against your Scorpio sun. Now, what does that mean? That means that this is a year of transformation. This is the purge and purify mentality. I have got to release these things in order to cleanse myself and move forward. Purging of the mental blocks, the beliefs, especially if they're inherited beliefs that aren't even yours. This is the year of letting them go, letting go of old dynamics in general that just don't work for you anymore. It is a year of introspection, and it is a year of regeneration. Now, if you have October 27th through November 12th, Saturn is going to be making a good connection with your sun. Now, Saturn is that planet that likes the long term and it likes to plan. So it is supporting you this year in developing your goals, your plans, but also your inner strength to make sure you get those things achieved. Now, new responsibilities may be put on you this year. No matter what Saturn's doing, if it's getting into you, it's adding some sort of level of added weight or responsibility. No worries. That's okay. New responsibilities equals new boundaries and limits that need to be set in order to achieve these. That's absolutely okay. So just keep that in mind that in order to make everything happen this year, you're going to have to know when to say no to things, when to say yes to things, and who's really deserving of that time and energy, how much of that energy, and how much of the energy you're going to take or spend or waste worrying about things that you don't have control over, right? Maybe that's part of it. So, November 13th to the 20th, you've got Uranus out there opposing your sun. Uranus, that planet of freedom and liberation. This is a year where that is at the forefront for you. You are ready for something new. You're ready for innovation. You are ready for change. And so that may bring out a little bit of a rebellious energy, especially if you've got a lot of old wounds that are coming up to be healed. You're wanting to break free of everything. And experimentation is key for you this year because the more that you can find something new, the more that you can find makes you happy, the more this is going to get you in the direction that you really want to go to living your authentic life for who you are now. That's what Uranus likes to do. And remember, where it's going is in that eighth house of debts. You're ready to break physical, financial debts, but also karmic debts. Maybe you've got some karmic debts with a relationship or anything else that's holding you back. This is going to be that time frame for y'all where it can break. So that's everything for you, Scorpio. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful 2025.